Today is Friday, January 2nd, 2015. This is a Beyond Bitcoin Hangout for the BTS community. We're bringing Bytemaster in for his weekly hangout to talk to the community and to answer community questions and provide some updates. We'll also, if we get the time, we'll have Bytemaster answer a question from the Beyond Bitcoin Show subreddit, and we'll leave it at that for right now. Bytemaster, would you like to get started on any project updates?
Well, the most of the development team has been visiting family, working remotely over the past week or so for the holidays. So I haven't gotten a clear update from them on where they are. I suppose most of the stuff I've been working on has been the blog itself, both the monetization strategy and communicating and writing articles for the blog. Since everything that I mentioned just a few minutes ago was prior to the start of the call, I'll go ahead and recap. The blog has been extremely successful. We're getting it on lots of page views. Thousands of users have seen the blog. That is directly resulting in raising awareness of BitShares. We are receiving both positive and negative press out there. BitShares TV is taking off. The BitShares book has been selling hundreds of copies. So that's pretty good for a niche book in a system like this. And all those people that bought it are also contributing to promoting it because it's been at the top of the Amazon bestsellers list in its product category. Overall, I am very happy with the direction that marketing has been taking. Adam Ernest from Follow My Vote is working full-time on marketing BitShares. The vote-related aspect of his stuff is taking a slight back burner while we really focus on getting the foundation in place for BitShares. So he's taken over, as many of you may know. Brian Page has stepped down as marketing director, and that means that we need someone to take over management of our website and social media. And that's where I'm handing that off to Adam Ernest. He will be taking a very systematic approach for growing traffic and awareness. The first is to be data-driven. I had a blog post about this. We want to analyze where our traffic's coming from, how long it stays, and what things actually convert users to download the wallet, and start collecting that data and then systematically work on improving the various metrics that we start gathering. This will give us some kind of sense of, are we making progress? Is this design better than some other design? And it's a very organized, well thought out approach. I think it's going to work well with what the NullStreet guys are trying to do. So Adam's got a team of people, interns from Virginia Tech, working with him. He's helping me with my blog to optimize SEO, and overall really taking marketing by the horns and getting it back on the right track. So I'd say that that is the biggest change in the BitShares ecosystem, is that I think finally, after more than a year of trying to find the right people and get the right message with the right product, we are starting to get a good marketing approach in place. And I would look I would watch out for the next 3 or 4 months. It's going to be a different BitShares. It's going to be a much more visible in the media, and the organic awareness of BitShares is going to grow dramatically. So I think everyone's been wanting that. I'm turning my full attention to that. I mentioned earlier that for the most part, I'm trying to resist the temptation to code. Coding something I can do, but I can only fix one bug at a time, implement one feature at a time. And while it might accelerate the release schedule by a couple days or a week or two, it does not build the lasting content, the network effect that grows n squared. That needs to be laid early and often. The content needs to get out there so that it can start reaping dividends. So that's why my primary focus is to get the ideas out of my head and to build one of the largest, most read blogs in the entire crypto space, and use that platform to market and promote BitShares as a solution for what most of the cryptocurrency folks out there actually want. So marketing a blog and marketing BitShares is effectively one and the same. The metrics for conversion is, well, how many users can you get reading the blog? And if we can get that up, we'll get a lot more attention. Excuse me. Sorry, I've been sick the past couple days. The
poor guy.
presence of a blog will also drive a lot of media, a lot of articles to us. And so I think it's a systematic approach. It's one and the same. If we can market a blog, then and the blog in turn is pitching the benefits of BitShares, we'll have a lot of success.
Have you considered anything as far as advertising other community-driven efforts on your blog? For instance, like if there's something like you've stated before that BitShares blocks was a beautiful solution to some of the problems that we had as far as getting data to the users about different delegates. Would you consider maybe posting links to stuff like that occasionally and talking about things like that?
More than that, my plan is to start systematically integrating and directing traffic to those sites as possible, to do complete reviews on various things. We've got people creating plugins. We've got people creating shopping cart plugins. As people create these things, I plan to do full-featured reviews on their status and to demo them with screenshots, and work with Max Wright and BitShares TV to do video walkthroughs of some of these projects that people are working on. So my goal is to focus a spotlight on major development, major contributions of users. Anytime an exchange lists us, I plan to review the exchange and their process, provide best practices, rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 on how well they are integrating with BitShares. Do they show the robo hash? Do they use the links? Do they various things? Do they use BitShares login? There are various things like that I can review these exchanges on, and then they can compete for ranking on my top exchanges list. And that will help motivate everyone to participate and funnel traffic and users to the information that they need.
Out of curiosity, have you thought whether this would consider decentralized exchanges? Like, for instance, if there are other share dropping DAX that serve like a decentralized exchange type of function?
My blog will probably grow to review just about every crypto product out there, with an eye toward answering the question, how does this product facilitate finding free market solutions for securing life, liberty, and property? Ultimately, I do not want to be blinded, have BitShares blindness. I want to maintain an open mind to see what technologies are out there so that we know what we have to pull in. I want BitShares to be as successful as possible, and therefore we need to recognize what our competitors are doing that's good so we can emulate it. And so that means using their products and figuring out what they get right and what they get wrong and writing about it.
It'll be very interesting. Does anybody have any questions for Bytemaster? Well, first off, Bytemaster, are you done with your update?
Yeah, let's just go to questions.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions regarding what was just mentioned?
When it comes to, when you're talking about things where you're going to review other products that are out there, when it comes to something like NewBits, which is kind of trying to do something very similar to us, how do you feel about their product and what are they doing right as opposed to what they're doing wrong?
What NewBits is doing right is marketing and providing liquidity. What they're doing wrong is executing a Ponzi scheme. I've, in previous posts on the forum, completely gone into the details of their Ponzi scheme. And I'll probably bring that back to my blog at some point in the future, if NewBits is still around and gaining traction.
So, along those lines, what do you think happens to exchanges that primarily list NewBits as one of their primary tokens?
The exchange is just facilitating escrow between buyers and sellers. They can make money while they can. The buyers and sellers are the ones that are ultimately investing in NewBits. The exchange is just a third party facilitating the transaction. So I don't blame exchanges for trying to make money, allowing people to trade things. Now, maybe there's something to be said for discriminating against certain coins if they are obvious Ponzi's. I wouldn't necessarily want to see a NewBits gateway on the BitShares blockchain. But that's neither here nor there. That's exchange's business. The exchange will live on as long as it doesn't depend upon revenue from those trades.
MCAT here asks a question, a related question. How do you think about the future of stablecoins?
So, stablecoins, a major topic of my blog, and debate with Vitalik from Ethereum about what is a stable coin. And I've had two major blog posts that the titles appear to contradict them. I say that creating a stable currency is impossible. And then I say this is how you would create a stable currency for different definitions of stable. Because most people, when they think a stable currency, what they're really thinking is something pegged to a fiat currency. But fiat currencies have inflation, and they're not necessarily stable. They can crash at any time. Just ask the Russians. They just had a greater than 10% haircut, if what I've been hearing through other people is correct. So pegging to a fiat currency is not a stable coin. It is not even a valid solution for securing your life, liberty, and property. BitUSD is perfectly pegged, more or less, to the dollar. But if the Fed prints up a bunch of money and causes 10% inflation, well, you just lost some of your crypto. It's still controlled by a centralized party. So I do not see pegging to fiat as a viable means of creating a stable currency, because I think many people are going to crypto because they don't think the fiat system is actually stable. It might have some price stability in the short term. But then I wanted to dive into a deeper philosophical question, or it's not even maybe philosophical, but economic question. Do we even want a stable currency? What is the incentive for holding a stable currency? You're not going to get any appreciation. And if in order to maintain a stable currency, that means that new issuance needs to be made to someone. Because if the economy grows and there's, say, twice as many goods and services in the economy from one year to the next year, well, the money is going to purchase twice as much, therefore not be stable, unless you double the supply of the currency. And then the question is, well, who gets it? You evenly distribute it to everyone? All right, it has the same purchasing power. Everyone just got 100% interest. But does it matter whether, in economic terms, whether you have one token worth $100 or 100 tokens worth $1, as long as there wasn't any redistribution of wealth based upon how the currency is issued? I really think that the mandate for price stability, that's what the Fed's mandate, and that's what a lot of people are actually asking for in stable coin is, I want an asset that's stable. The prices don't go up and down, that I can just hold. I don't think that's what people want. I don't think that's even a good definition of stable, and I think it's actually a core part of the deception of the Fed and the powers that be. If they can convince us to accept price stability as good, that means they can steal 100% of all the increases in productivity of society while having 0% inflation. When you recognize that and say the economy, because of the computer and the internet, doubled our efficiency, but prices stayed the same for the average man, well, who got all the extra wealth that was produced because we're twice as efficient? The elite, the people that got the new money.
Can I ask a question? This is a very similar model to what Nubits does, only they just essentially create Nubits and then park them, right?
Nubits prints money to motivate people not to dump.
So essentially, they're unstable because they're providing the same mechanism just at a different time before they have enough people. But it would still essentially, when you print more of them, wouldn't it be price fixing and being able to give Nubits away to pretty much anyone?
Nubits is not trying to provide a stable currency. They're trying to provide a pegged currency. Nubits fails when the dollar fails. End of story. I'm not going to invest in Nubits for the same reason I don't want to invest in dollars.
What you should invest in are things that are growing, like the crypto space, things that are growth industries. That's what will gain you an advantage, an acceleration based on the growth. And stability, you're right. Stability isn't what we seek after. What we're seeking after is an exponential growth, things that feed cells. And if you can invest in crypto, which is what BitShares was all about when I first started, it's a company that you invest in based on what you're excited about, then I think it will grow on its own.
And you do realize that we will become the elites. Like, they do run these social programs for stability, because in the United States it's like a looking glass. Like, there's this major big elite or a small elite, and then there's this large like underpopulation, and they're kind of doing it for the social programs and for greater reasons for in terms of war, like different with different ideologies, obviously the ideology reasons. But you do realize that if this pulls off, we become the elite, right?
I don't know. I've kind of seen it personally as we have this new generation of guys who grew up tinkering with computers, and that's all they like. They're just so dang good at it. Like, and whenever you really are brilliant in with coding and networking and being able to, you can essentially build networks that have billions and billions of dollars of worth. And I just see like all these new ones coming out in the future, and it's just going to be ridiculous. And these different protocols are all going to fight, and you're going to have clones of different protocols. That's what you have now already starting. So I don't even know that there's going to be like a new elite. It'll just it all depends on how low our barrier we keep the barriers to entry.
When I mean elite, I don't mean like Harvard class. I just mean money class. I don't mean like old money. I just mean money class. But
That's good.
I'd like to interrupt this for a second.
Sure.
Sure. Just to get back to the critical point of the discussion. Well, is a stable currency good? And what is the definition of a stable currency? And then what is the ideal currency, right? Because that's what we're all after, is creating the ideal currency. And I think there's this period of time where an ideal currency starts out as very volatile. And then once it gets to scale and it's widely accepted, it's no longer volatile. So how do you create a stable currency? You achieve world reserve currency status, or at least get as big as any national currency in terms of economic trade, and you will be stable. Your up and downs will grow with your economy. So let's view the hypothetical world where everyone is using the same currency. In that world, you want a fixed supply currency system that reallocates. That the only way to get the currencies to trade with people that already have it. Under that system, you will have price stability. And in fact, because as society grows, as our ability to produce things grows, the value of each unit of currency will also grow. So that if you save this ideal currency that's widely accepted in your mattress, you're not taking any risks. You have the entire free market acting as a decentralized investment system. Instead of a 401k money manager, the entire market with all the entrepreneurs applying everything they've got to make highest possible return, the money itself will appreciate at the average growth rate of the economy. It will be the safest investment that anyone can make, and no entrepreneur is going to invest in something unless they think they can do better than average, because money is already growing at the average rate. Whereas if you have a stable currency, then money is no longer growing at the average rate. Now you've got to invest. Well, the average man doesn't know how to invest. Heck, I don't even know how to invest. That information is distributed all throughout the market. And if I have to try to pick winners or losers, I'm not going to be as successful as other people. Now, I might invest heavily in BitShares because I think BitShares is going to do better than others, and all my knowledge will suggest that that's what I should be investing in. But someone else might know something about some new energy technology, or who knows, space travel, that maybe there's more profit to be made doing those things, and they'll try to invest over there.
And so with what you're saying, Bytemaster, like BitUSD, like as an investment, as a non-practicing investment advisor certified in Canada, BitUSD, because the US dollar has been on an uptrend last year at least, coming this year, we should be able to see like adoption in BitUSD if if like the US dollar keeps appreciating. But I agree with what you're saying that like BitShares is the investment because it will engulf it'll engulf the US dollar eventually if we pull this off, and it'll turn into something like it'll be the reserve currency with the CNY and the US. It'll be a duopoly or whatever.
Right. So there's two different things. There was what is the ideal currency if everyone is using it, and then how do you get from where we are today to that status? Well, between now and then, the BitShare price is going to be extremely volatile. No one's going to want to use a BitShare as a unit of account when it's up and down by 5% every other week. They want something that's got better relative stability. And the only way you get relative stability is to grow and get bigger. It's like gravity. The Earth is very hard to shake because it's so massive, whereas a pebble is very easy to shake. But we all know that the Earth can vibrate and does vibrate, and it has its things impacting it from space. But the larger you get, the more stable you get, and that's just how systems work. So how do you create a stable currency? Have a fixed supply and global adoption. BitShares is aiming to reach that by allowing people to use it as the reserve for the issuance of other things that are more stable. And I don't think we need to create an artificial stable currency, because I think a stable currency has no value in its own right. People want to buy things that have a rate of return. So BitUSD is actually better than a dollar. Why? It's pegged to the dollar plus yield. And the yield is proportional to the growth expectations of BitShares. We removed the negative downside potential for the most part and have only retained the upside potential for BitUSD. That's better than a dollar. And then it's actually more stable than a dollar. Why? The dollar lost 2%. We gave you 2%. Okay. Which one's more stable? BitUSD or the dollar?
So BitUSD, obviously what you're saying is we promote BitUSD, and Tom's saying like what should we track vehicle, because we're in the stage we need a market, and
the way I'm trying to promote this is this. The goal is to create a closed full cycle economy where you can buy and sell and trade and live entirely within the crypto infrastructure. Bitcoin is kind of like Amazon. Well, it's kind of like Amazon. It's kind of like the dollar, right? People earn dollars and they buy things in dollars and they don't need anything else. Bitcoin's got this fatal flaw that you buy it, but then you're constantly converting back to dollars whenever you spend it. You go to a merchant, the merchant converts it to dollars immediately. The merchants can't hold it. So you don't get the closed the full cycle ecosystem. Once we can establish a full cycle ecosystem and start growing it, then we have a self-sustaining, self-growing economy. At that point in time, you can invest in BitShares to grow the economy, or invest in dollars to still participate in the growth of the economy, but without the risk. And so I think most people out there want to have a transparent, honest financial system. A lot of the people I'm targeting are people that are interested in freedom, and they want freedom from the monetary authorities, freedom from the government printing press. And so you ask, well, do you want to invest in your own freedom? There are two ways you can do that. High risk, buy BitShares. You're directly supporting your freedom when you buy BitShares. It's going to be volatile, but you know what? It's your freedom. How much is it worth to you? And then there's the low risk. You lend to the BitShares ecosystem. You're still supporting freedom by lending your wealth to it, but you're not taking the downside risk, assuming the system doesn't collapse. either way, your reason is the same. It's just how much risk reward do you want? And if you're buying into BitShares at today's stage only for financial gain, then I'd say BitShares is where people should be. If you're trying to get people in for BitUSD, the only reason to own BitUSD right now is if you're going to be a trader and you want to hedge against the volatility and basically do day trading, or if you want to trade dollars versus gold on our system.
But just remember, when Bytemaster's saying that best investment is BitShares, now every investment has a chance of risk or loss. He's not a financial advisor, and I don't have the. I'm not with a certain institution or anything.
Right. These are just my opinions. Yeah, and everything's got a risk, and don't do anything that you don't understand.
Have you thought of any cryptocurrencies that would be awesome other than BTC to be traded on the decentralized exchange?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. People are concerned about exchanges having too much voting power for BitShares. And my stance is that no exchange anywhere in the world should have any BitShares on deposit. Ever. They should only provide gateways to other currencies into BitShares. All BitShares should be kept on the blockchain at all times. And that's the direction we need to move. And if we go there, we have one order book, we have the deepest markets, the highest liquidity, and the lowest risk of, because the entire BitShares side of the market is held in crypto. And then
is it possible to keep the exchanges from doing what you just suggested shouldn't be done?
Nothing, you can't prevent them from offering BTS IOUs and allowing people to deposit it. Can't prevent that other than by educating users. Don't use third-party exchanges. Do all your exchanges on the blockchain and manage the private keys yourself. And don't trade against the issuer's IOU, trade against BitUSD. And the only place that you should be trading with an issuer, a gateway, is BitUSD to Gateway USD, BitBTC to Gateway BTC. If we can start having people understand that BitShares is the best cryptocurrency exchange, it's the only cryptocurrency exchange that does not have counterparty risk while your orders are on the books. It might not be as fast. So if you want to do day trading with sub-second trade speeds, fine. But I don't think that there's any reason why the centralized exchanges should have enough depth and liquidity to support high-frequency trading if the vast majority of traders are using the BitShares exchange directly. That means we got to work on our user interface, work out the kinks and the bugs in it. But eventually, there is no reason that any bid or ask should exist outside the BitShares network.
About your blog, Bytemaster, how much are you going to be investing monthly on your affiliate program, just to know your burn rate?
I'm not spending anything.
Okay.
My affiliate program is going to be a percentage of the income I receive.
Okay. That's even better. That's the best.
Phenike asks, should DevShares only list other bit cryptos instead of BitUSD, BitCNY, etc.? That's a good question.
DevShares should do what anyone wants to do with it. I don't want to put any rules or restrictions on what things people list on. So let's talk about DevShares for a second.
Before you get to that subject, before you go to that subject, could we make sure that we understand what you were driving at in the last thread about the definition of what a stable currency is? Because I'm not sure that I understand what you intend for that.
All right, so a truly stable currency, a constant purchasing power currency, is impossible in the sense that nothing can survive a nuclear war. Yeah, the devastation to the economy would mean that it's physically impossible for everyone in savings to continue to buy the same number of goods and services as they used to. Doesn't matter what your monetary policy is. Nuclear war is rather extreme, I'll admit, but that just shows you the absolute failure case. All right, well, any economic contraction or growth is going to change, or any economic contraction at all is going to impact the ability of a stable coin to maintain a constant standard of living for everyone who holds it. I view it this way. The money of a society represents a claim on a percentage of all resources in the society, all goods and services. It's a token that's a percentage of that.
And percentage of GDP.
GDP is a poor attempt at approximating it, but yes.
But also people.
It's a percentage of all land, all resources, all skills, anything the economy, anything the market can provide. You're entitled to a percentage of it proportional to the amount of money you have. If the pie grows,
the one point I want to make is that changes as the economy grows, as the society grows. That is a moving target. It will change, but stability is, like I think you said it very well there. It's a percentage of that, and even though it's changing and growing, you still have a direct relationship to that gross thing. Yes.
In general, in a free market without wars and where the only thing you have to worry about are natural disasters, the economy is going to grow at a very predictable rate. And that's the main thing, is predictability. It's about momentum and inertia. And when you get something that's big enough and massive enough, little things don't push price around much. And when it's small, it's very volatile. So a stable currency is not what people want. People want a predictable currency. And I can prove that with the dollar. The dollar is predictably losing a couple of percent per year, yet people still use it. It's not stable, but it's not changing on a daily basis.
That's only what the mantras believe. In money supply it is, but in purchasing power, in relative to other currencies, it's growing. But in terms of how much it can buy, like it might actually like inflation is very low in terms of in it actually, like you have to look at inflation in terms of the vending machine index.
It depends on what you want to buy. That's how it works. If you want to buy stocks and bonds, well, then the dollar's been performing horribly. Massive devaluation of the dollar relative to stocks and even housing in recent years, as the bubble seems to be growing again. Or college tuition. It's all about what things they factor. If you only look at the consumer price index, you're looking at a subset of the economy that's ignoring where all the new money's going. And it's ignoring the fact that the same dollars are competing for all goods and services, and you can't just take a subset and say that's the only subset that matters. You pick that subset to mask your reallocation of wealth to the elites. To the average man, the ability to invest in income-producing assets like stock in Apple and Google and that, they've lost purchasing power of income-producing assets. And that is massive inflation, but the methods that we are using to calculate it are not revealing that, because people have this break that, well, because it's a stock, it's somehow different than an orange. They're both two commodities, and individuals have to decide, do I want to buy A or do I want to buy B, which is going to provide more to me? competing for the same dollar. And so the elite pump all their money into stocks. The stocks go up. They're buying up the income-producing assets with the freshly printed money while keeping the price of regular goods that people need to live relatively stable. The people don't realize they're being priced out of income-producing assets each and every year.
What about a bit market cap? Because that kind of takes in the entire crypto space into one place. That way you can invest into the growth of the crypto space.
Right. So the key is that we can't create a bit asset with positive yield if the expectation is that the asset's going to grow faster than BitShares itself. Who's going to want to short bit crypto market cap unless they think BitShares is going to grow faster than average?
But it can be one-sided, Bytemaster.
Right.
There is some things like that. The federal funds index, federal funds rate, futures market. It's one-sided right now because interest rates are at 0%. So it's an asymmetric trade. If you can pick the right month, then you can basically game the Federal Reserve. It's true. I can show you.
Right. So it's challenging. My point is that if I'm thinking about going short, you're going to have far fewer people willing to go short against a high growth asset versus a low growth asset. Everyone expects the dollar to go down and BitShares to go up, so there's plenty of shorts. So those are the main restrictions we have with the bit asset system as it exists today. Is you're only going to find people willing to short if they can use a high growth asset as collateral.
But back to what Tom was saying, can we do a bit market cap of like the whole, an index, basically an index fund of all the cryptocurrencies, like basically take maybe one crypto, like one, don't take the whole thing, you know what I mean? Just like, can we do that? Because Tom's idea was really good.
All those types of things are possible. You can create a bid asset that tracks any arbitrary index. Market caps are easily manipulated, as we see coins up here in the top 10 with low volume all the time. So you can't just use market cap because that would be challenging. But as someone posted in the forum, the ability for people to create a user-issued market-pegged asset, which is a hybrid between the ones that use delegate feeds and one that use user feeds. We could allow people to create bid assets that track anything as long as you're willing to trust the price feed for that asset. I think that we can do all kinds of very interesting things with exotic products. We could even create a asset that's pegged to the inflation rate so that those who actually want a stable coin will have a stable coin. It's going to be centralized on Fed policy and government inflation statistics. But as long as everyone agrees on the methodology of the price feed calculation, then people can use it. But I just want to really start to educate people about the definition of stable, and that anytime people talk about a stable coin, well, what's it pegged to? If they say it's fiat, you say that's not stable. When that fiat currency crashes, your coin's dead. So what makes BitShares immune from this is the fact that bit assets can peg anything, and we're just going to peg existing commodities and currencies. If the dollar fails, all right, we've got gold and silver. It doesn't mean that our entire blockchain is like new bits, right? You got the new bit and the new shares. Only two things in that entire system. And there's actually, I don't see any tie between the value of new shares and new bits. But anytime you see a system that's that tightly coupled around one stable feature, you have to be careful because you're only as stable as the thing you're pegging to. So let's differentiate stable versus pegged and recognize that anytime someone says they want a stable currency, say, no, that's not what you want. What you want is a predictably growing currency with low volatility. And that the only way to create that is to have fixed supply and large economy.
I agree with what you're saying. That we're going. Sorry, go.
Prediction and the source of what you're pegging to are the key elements of stability as we're talking about it here. And I think you've answered my question quite thoroughly. Thank you, Bytemaster.
Bytemaster, one last thing. Like, I'm worried. I agree with you in terms of that BitShares will be around. It's just, are we going to be the American Stock Exchange or the New York Stock Exchange? If you understand what I'm saying. And Ripple has made them their NASDAQ. Ripple's NASDAQ. They've made that because they have adoption now. Are you going to use, like, but will you, okay, all I have to ask is, would you vote in Fuzz? Fuzz nuts.
What's this all about?
No, because we need paid delegates. We need to promote.
Fuzz, I think I might have a full-time job for you if you want to help me manage my blog.
Sounds good, actually.
Okay.
So yes, I support Fuzz. He's been a loyal supporter. He's done a great job getting these sessions together. As far as what will we be, well, I see Ripple as a solid technology that provides transparency, but is fundamentally based upon managing IOUs. It is going to dramatically help settlement. It is not going to free us from the banking system. And that's all you really need to know at the end of the day. Can Ripple provide financial freedom for individuals? Well, Ripple depends entirely upon gateways. There is no way to hold $1 worth of value in Ripple without it being an IOU from a issuer, from a regulated entity that can be shut down.
I agree. The DAX system is the future.
So, are they going to be big? Yes. Are they competing with us? Not at the moment. And
Speedy asked, what if they were to copy our market peg bit assets? Which would technically be feasible, correct? I mean, they're just more a centralized version of this, essentially.
Right. So then you're going to end up with a Pepsi and Coke. Ripple's going to be the good old boy elite club, backed by all the people that are currently enslaving us. And then BitShares is going to be the more democratic, community-driven alternative to the corporate-driven Ripple. And I think that there's going to be this split between the two. And they will probably actually be able to interface at some level through gateways that are on both Ripple and BitShares. But yeah, Ripple is,
and they're also probably
centralized,
prone to a quantum computing attack in the future, which BitShares would be less prone to because it has the 101 delegates. So that's what's going.
Yeah, well, Ripple's consensus algorithm is we've got an insider club and we will invite new people into it. It's fragile, and if they don't configure their unique node list properly, then it can fail. So if they grow it to be 1,000 people and they start to allow it to happen willy-nilly, and it's not centrally managed and planned, the network can get relatively fragile. You might end up on a fork and not knowing it. So everyone needs to know what everyone else's unique node list is and make sure that there is sufficient overlap that you're in the majority consensus and not forming a new minority consensus. And now I looked into implementing their algorithm, and I realized that yes, you can have lots of nodes participating in it. It is trustless for the participants. If you are one of the insiders that's on everyone's unique node list, yeah, you can trust the process. That's like saying that you're going to have Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo all agree on how to settle things between them. They can trust each other, and they can use the Ripple process just fine. But if you open it up to include anyone on the street, all of a sudden you can't trust their process anymore. So Ripple is very centralized in its very structure. I kind of think of BitShares with our delegates as voting on the unique node list. And whereas Ripple has everyone vote and agree on every single block, we say, hey, we're just going to agree to take turns. End result is the same. We're agreeing to agree. We just had a more efficient method of figuring out what to agree on. I agree to let you go next, and we all agree to let you go next. So there's not this need to go back and forth every 10 seconds between all the nodes. I think Ripple's network is going to slow down as they add. The more nodes they have, the higher the transaction volume gets, the longer it's going to take them to close each ledger. Because there's more coordination that needs to occur. So there's more opportunity for disagreement as transactions come in from different sources. While they're centralized, just a few nodes, they can operate at 10 seconds. I don't think Ripple's going to be able to continue operating at 10 seconds if they scale up the number of nodes participating in the consensus process. I could be proven wrong, but that's just my gut feeling.
What happens if, is it possible altogether change the algorithm to something that's more DPoS related, like in a fork of some sort?
Well, that brings to another good point. Blockchains and cryptocurrencies are not about the ledger. It's about the people. You can upgrade the ledger as long as you continue to honor the property rights and provide a smooth transition path. As long as everyone agrees to continue to honor each other's property rights. It's the property rights that matter. It's the predictability that matters. If Ripple wanted to, they could move to a DPoS system. They can move to a round-robin system of their unique node list. The problem Ripple has is that they don't want to have a predefined consensus set, but they could easily replace it with round-robin consensus with 1,000 participants taking turns. It'd be Ripple's kind of like BitShares delegates voting on whether or not to add another delegate or to remove a delegate.
It's just Ripple is they're banking on Google's success with Gmail, where it constantly gets bigger, the storage size. So they're just going to keep adding more and more servers until quantum computing comes out. But if a quantum computing attack comes out and someone wants to disrupt the system, I believe Ripple, like what you're saying with all your awesome technical points, that they have with the nodes, they have more problem with resolving a centralized quantum computing attack. And that's what they'll come up against if you're with Ripple.
I'm not worried about quantum computing for the simple fact that once quantum computers are out, everyone will have them. And if it becomes a point that cryptography is no longer secure, then we'll have to implement some other solution that is secure. Hashing is secure against quantum computing.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
Hashing your DNA.
So
the kamikazes, the Japanese, or the suicide bombers with Israelis, or the Palestinians, or the things. If there's 101 delegates, they can't take out them all at once. It would be more difficult. And you see movies about it in the past, right? But it'd be more difficult than taking out a centralized system.
Right. Well, do you think someone can take out all the banking infrastructure right now in one go? Banks have lots of redundancy already built in across multiple continents and countries. I don't think there's any. I'd be surprised if there was any single place where you could take out the entire banking system, or even a single bank's.
I never thought about it. But they're definitely NASDAQ.
Replication is the solution to that, and that's a commodity. Everyone's got it, and they've had it for years.
But when I say NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange is bigger than NASDAQ, just for your information. It's 4 or 5 times bigger. Sorry.
He's talking about the network infrastructure and how it's set up to be redundant. And
I know, I'm just talking about, like, we're kind of worried a bit if who's going to be bigger, and I believe BitShares is going to be bigger because it's going to be the New York Stock Exchange. Not NASDAQ.
There's lots of room for lots of competition. The market's going to gravitate toward the best product. Everything is super young right now. It's entirely possible that the best product hasn't even been started yet. So we just need to keep pushing forward, and there's room for multiple winners. If we are only the NASDAQ and someone else is the New York Stock Exchange, fine, we still win. We don't need to be number 1. We could be number 3 and be huge, right? We could be bigger than Bitcoin and still be number 3.
Yep.
And let that sink in. It's almost impossible for us to lose. We may not win number 1, but it's much less likely that we will lose as long as we continue to improve and integrate the best innovations in the industry. We'll get there.
The cryptocurrency pie will be expanding.
Have you ever considered the amount of the number of different exchanges like BitShares, like even clones of BitShares, could exist before the market reached a level of saturation?
I don't know. It's kind of like Bitcoin exchanges. There's dozens of them. And altcoins, there's dozens and dozens of them. I suspect that if you look at it real close, there's only 5 real blockchain currency technologies out there right now, and only 3 of them have actually released anything. You've got Bitcoin, you've got Ripple, you've got BitShares, then you've got Ethereum and MadeSafe. Everyone else is a copy with small modifications of one of those 5. One of those, I think all 5 probably have a long-term future. Although recently the trajectory Next is on, they might actually not end up going anywhere. And MadeSafe is not fungible, divisible. Well, it's not divisible in their currency. And they're not really a competitor with us. So that leaves Bitcoin, Ripple, and BitShares as being the only, I guess Ethereum. So assuming Ethereum works and is released and implements smart contracts that can simulate features of BitShares, there's 4 there. Bitcoin is going to fade away as some of these others start to take over. That leaves Ripple, BitShares, and Ethereum as being the 3 major technologies out there. There is room for all 3 of us in the market, especially when you consider that Ethereum and BitShares are completely polar opposites in ways that Ripple will never be able to compete with BitShares on the decentralization argument. And all the demand for decentralization and trust-free and openness is going to be going toward BitShares and Ethereum rather than Ripple. When it comes to Ethereum, its primary feature is smart contracts. I think smart contracts are going to become a commodity. Every system is going to have it. What matters is not whether or not you have smart contracts, but what digital assets can the smart contracts manipulate. And I think that that is going to be the advantage that BitShares will have over Ethereum in the short term, because with our bit assets, you can manipulate a lot more useful types of value entirely with the smart contract. Whereas Ethereum would have to implement bit assets first, and I don't think that they will be able to easily implement bit assets as cleanly as we have on their system. So
And you're
there you
working
have it.
on a scripting language too, right? To preempt Ethereum.
Right. We might not beat them to the market with a scripting engine. But I suspect that we will have scripting and bit assets before they have scripting and bit assets. So there's that. I think that there's room for both, and that if we have Ripple, BitShares, and Ethereum are the 1, 2, and 3 system out there, we win. Who else is out there? And once you start to realize that, all right, now you're only, I guess I'm referring to the technologies. Maybe Stellar will beat out Ripple. I think each of us will have our clones that are vying for some percentage of the market cap. The benefit we have is that we've established a principle of share dropping, so we'll probably have a stake in whatever clones come up, whereas Ethereum and Ripple don't have that social expectation, so the tradition. So from where I sit, we can have a friendly competition. We can take the best ideas. We don't need to fear them or be jealous of them. We just need to grow and provide the best product we can. And what I'm trying to sell is not just a technology. I'm trying to sell a greater philosophy that's far richer and far more meaningful than what a lot of other people are trying to sell. And our community is going to be the key of finding like-minded individuals, people that want to change the world, who want freedom. And if we can get those people involved with what we're doing, we've got a long-term funding strategy. What does Ethereum do when they run out of money? We've got a budget right now of $3 million a year. If we double our market cap, it's $6 million a year. We've already been there once.
Yeah.
And if we go back to our all-time high, we're at $8 million a year. That is a budget far greater than Ethereum's in the long run. That's a sustainable budget. I don't think BitShares is going to go anywhere. We've got our niche, and we are going to continue to grow our niche. And with new efforts toward marketing and getting the message out there, we're going to see a dramatic change in public reception of BitShares in 2015.
Just want to do that because I think it's great.
With everything you just said, how do you feel about something like BitGold now kind of moving in on the names of our bit assets? How should we combat it? Should we ignore it? Like, what's your philosophy and point of view of how it should kind of be handled?
Well, I think we just need to grow our community and let people know that BitReserve is nothing other than a transparent version of eGold with a better API. eGold was shut down eventually. You're trusting a third party. They're going to have restrictions. It's just another centralized entity. So, am I concerned about them getting long-term traction? No. Are they going to be bigger than us? I don't think so, because they're not providing the same product we're providing. And as far as the name conflicts, we're just going to use it more. We just have to flood the market with more media and more references to BitGold. Then they have references to it. Sure, they can call it BitGold, but I think we've been calling it BitGold for a year and a half, and they didn't even exist. So I think we're good.
There has to be a behavioral reinforcing too with respect to brand recognition. If, for instance, if I go on and I trade any number of commodities, bit asset commodities on this market, I'm also going to most likely have investors in BitGold on the chain. You know what I'm saying? So it almost seems like a moot point, especially once gateways are open, because they can exist if they want to, but it's going to be really hard because if you have all the other bit assets, it's really difficult for somebody to compete with that.
On a different note, what do you think about probably disconnect.
No, you're fine, Eagle Eye.
Oh, no, I'm not disconnected. Bytemaster, what do you think about if Riverhead and Methodox both have their own delegate?
Well, we're getting off topic real quick.
Sorry about that.
I believe they do have their own delegates, but anyway,
Okay.
we're at about an hour and 19 minutes. So, and I know that we will take Bytemaster sitting here talking all day.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have this every Friday, so if there's Bytemaster, would you mind if I ask the final question on Reddit and then maybe we can finish it up for this week?
Or you can just keep going if you want to keep going. Like, we could be here all day, Bytemaster. I'm sure these people could go all day.
I'd like to.
It's up to you.
To focus back on my blog and get another post out there, I'm going to be responding to Vitalik's post on silos. There was a media request for someone wants to do an article about our contrasting opinions on that, and they asked me that opinion, so I'm going to turn it into a blog post. But yeah, I think I need to cut this short. And one thing I would like to say before I go is that if these particular sessions can be edited and cleaned up a little bit so that they're a little less rough around the edges, I'd be more than happy to include them in the blog and promote joining this Humble Hangout on the blog as a way of reaching me.
Sounds good, Bytemaster. Have a great day. Sorry.
Along those lines, guys, I don't know how you want to do it, but I know email to AJ, he's essentially got kind of a little bit of history in doing audio editing and all that good stuff. But I don't know, I think something happened in his family. So if anybody's interested in helping editing with the shows, you're more than welcome to contact me. I'm going to be editing them for right now, but I use Audacity and I'm not a professional. I know he uses some other equipment and I don't have the equipment yet either. So just a couple things to consider. With that said, I would like to offer you guys all a couple minutes if you want to tell anybody about, like, give any updates on your own projects. And for NullStreet, Matt608 left a message here for me to let everybody know about. I may not be able to attend the Hangout. If you could mention that now I'm elected, things are kicking into gear in terms of Argentina website design and promotional content creation. That would be great. Thank you. So that's an update from Matt608. I don't know if his delegate's in yet, but he is trying to get a delegate running for marketing in Argentina. I say I'm personally for it and would like to see it happen. And we can maybe go from there.
Wild Pig says he's in. I got a guy for you from the Philippines, Fuzz, if you want video editing. He's cheap. He's very cheap. He can think. He can think, and he's smart, and he's good.
I would love to meet a guy from the Philippines who does stuff like this, because I'm trying to get the Philippines is such a wonderful place. They have so many, like, everybody, like, even homes, they're all like mom and pop shops. Like, everybody sells something for a living, it seems. So their economy is perfect for, if you put mobile phones in their hands with mobile wallets and BitUSD, it's just perfect, because the banks there are not that good. They charge too high of fees. We're bringing everybody into the digital age, so it's really cool.
Yeah, so you just give this guy, exactly, Fuzz. So you just give this guy your guidelines, and he'll do what you want. And he can think. He can think. He can think.
Well, I want to give email a little bit to. I don't want to just like cut him out.
Yeah, totally.
But I will definitely consider it if he can't come back. With that said, Bitscape and Roadkill have a delegate. It's going to be a media delegate, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, this is Bitscape. Bits, Brandon. Yeah, we were up really late last night getting everything sorted out and ready to put it out there for the community. I believe Roadscape just put a link in there. You can see the thread with our entire proposal, and I look forward to chatting with you, Fuzzy, about setting up an actual meetup we can have sometime to talk about more in depth our proposal and everything. I'm a little haggard from last night. Honestly, we were up all hours of the night, so I'm not feeling super articulate right now, but I just wanted to jump in and introduce myself and say hi.
Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, well, in a nutshell, I have a background as a filmmaker, media, grassroots, political organizing, whole bunch of stuff. And Roadscape is a server admin. He's also a very artistic individual with a lot of great design skills. We're intending to use Minneapolis as a bit of a petri dish. That's where we both live, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we've already begun organizing a meetup here, and we'll be using that as a testing grounds for creating better and better presentations to reach larger and larger numbers of people from all different walks of life. I think we'll definitely be moving outside of the meetup space, but it's a good place to start. We've got a bunch of video production ideas in the works. We'll be actually putting out just a video introduction of ourselves and our campaign in the coming week. And other than that, we've got Bitscape.io, which is going to be home for said produced videos. We're looking forward to doing interviews, mini documentaries, ads, all sorts of fun stuff for the for the whole BitShares space. And we also got CryptoFresh.com. We're still working out some of the last details on the whole payment system, but it's essentially going to be the first place that I know of that anyone can buy merchandise with BitUSD. I know someone else has been working tirelessly on creating a shopping cart, but Roadscape just kind of went ahead and put one together. I think he's probably not really ready for everyone to like look at it really intensely, but yeah, it's we're moving forward on that. We've got the BitShares 101 book up there now in cooperation with Max, and yeah, we really use your support, and we would love to devote all our time and attention to supporting this incredible project. So if you guys have any specific questions, it might be better than me just rambling on and on.
So I got a question. What type of content are you going to be making? Like videos, memes? It says memes, videos, digital media. Like, do you have any example? Like just an idea off the top of your head? Any type of idea?
Yeah, I actually have a number of articles I'm working on, so I'm actually going to be blogging. And as far as video content goes, we'd like to put together a few really short, basically teaser sort of ads for BitShares. We'll have to be working closely with other people in the community that are creating visual content and whatnot to incorporate that. At some point, we'd like to, when the time and funding allows, we'd like to hit the road actually and do a little mini documentary. We'd like to visit the team in Virginia and do some interviews. We can do online interviews with whomever. And I have some Chinese translation capacity here in Minneapolis, if I can pull them away from their own projects long enough, my friends, but definitely looking for anyone from the Chinese community that's interested in subtitling and stuff like that. And yeah, I think a lot of our video ideas are pretty meant to be pretty playful and engaging, and just really get out to a segment of society that really isn't paying much attention to anything that's happening in crypto space at all.
Then you're gonna probably have to put in a bunch of ladies in bikinis and a lot of loud music.
We'll do what we got to do.
So how long do you think it would take to make a 15-second commercial in your experience?
Like the entire production of a 15-second commercial?
Like how you would want to do it, like exactly how you would want to do it.
Wait, I just don't understand your question. Like, how long would it take me to produce a 15-second commercial?
Not like a commercial, like a TV commercial, but like a YouTube commercial.
Well, I mean, once it's all scripted and everything, and you shoot and post-production and everything, I mean, you probably have to shoot. Yeah, I mean, we could jam out a good 15-second commercial in a couple days to a week, really. I mean, faster if
and how long would it take
all
you to
the ingredients are there.
Sorry. How long would it take you to script it?
Eagle Eye, you're talking about a design process this guy has got a lot of experience with. You can't shortcut it to just some quickie little thing. It does take a lot of time and investment to come up with the script and go through the pitch and get all that stuff happening. So I appreciate that he can't answer that as a spot question real quick like that. And it would change depending on the nature of what that promotion would be like.
I agree. It's just he might have already an idea, like that he might have thought about, and I just thought he might have that idea and like already thought about the idea.
Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas. I think we've been working so hard on just getting the delegate set up, working on these 2 websites, getting those set up, articulating the entire delegate proposal that a lot of the creative fun stuff that we really want to get into has taken a backseat to just the preparations for all this. And of course, we both have other jobs, and so we've with flexible schedules, fortunately. So we've been, using our time more and more to work on these things. But we hope that we're able to secure our delegate position and spend a lot more time working on this sort of thing. But in terms of, once we get rolling, we can produce content at a pretty good clip, and also, depending on funding and our ability to bring on extra hands for production, we can do a lot of stuff.
I have a question about the website landscape in general. I mean, we've got bitshares.org, which has gone through a lot of changes. Cass has been involved. He's an excellent designer. And Fuzzy and I have been talking about my entry into this space of helping with the website design. I'm really thinking that's not where I want to go at this point. But at any rate, there's a lot of different efforts for putting up websites. And I would like to see Method X contribute to this discussion too, because how does NullStreet guide where the focal points are going to be in terms of websites? Because you really don't want a ton of different websites with the same messages. You want to have a focal point where people can go to it to really get the central meat of what's going on in our marketing effort. And you can have side chains, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the focal point should always definitely be bitshares.org. By the way, how's my audio?
Perfect, man.
Excellent.
Finally. Yeah, no, the focal point should always be bitshares.org. So we really need to focus on creating multiple landing pages for different demographics on bitshares.org. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm glad you said that, Method X, because I just went to the bitshares.org website recently and saw it was dramatically different than what it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when Kath was interacting and putting content up. When it was first relaunched, you had the safe in the different. It was a vertically oriented scroll page, slider page, and I thought it was a very well done design. And on the forum yesterday, Toast was mentioning that he had redirected the restructuring of that site somewhat, and I really think that we need to have a concerted growth pattern on that main site, and I kind of hated to see that disruption that took place there.
Yeah, it's actually, I heard it's gone through, I think it was 7 different iterations. Is that true?
That sounds about right.
It has been a lot.
Yeah, we need to get the next one right. I think it should be, I think there was a thread that Cass started asking for input on bitshares.org on NullStreet. So I think the best thing that he can do is create like bitshares.org/new or something. And then the community can kind of collectively follow his progress and give input and feedback kind of live as he does it. I think that would be the best way to proceed.
Yes, that would be very good because it's very interactive. He can correct as he goes.
Yeah, the community kind of designs it, right? And he does the work.
Well, I would say the market would design it, but yeah, the community, exactly. But you don't want to get him too sidetracked because there's going to be a lot of input from the community. He'll have to be the one that filters that and decides and merges it together to be the proper representation of that. But yeah, but having constant feedback is important for sure.
Yeah, very good point.
Have you ever considered like having something like how you have what is BitUSD? What if the bitshares.org website was a landing page for certain things like that, where you could click on links to go to all these what is BitUSD, and it's just a nice laid out another page. You know what I'm saying? What is BitGold? And having things like that, like just directly there, like the main features of the exchange. What is Vote? And different things like that, where it could connect like in almost like a network of pages.
Right. Like I was saying, we need to have separate landing pages for separate segments or demographics on bitshares.org. So you will have a bitshares.org/bitusd, or, a landing page for merchants, or, I'm sure we could come up with maybe 5 or 6 main demographics. And then, whenever the community is discussing it on Reddit or wherever, you just send them to that specific landing page that describes the benefits to that demographic. Like, for example, to merchants. I totally agree.
So one way you could implement is you just have a single website, and menu items on that website would be these different landing pages, but then you would have different domains registered, which would make it literally a landing page. So if you wanted to say a landing page for BitGold, it would be www.bitgold.com, which would take you to just one page of this main website, which has everything all in one spot. But as far as an external entry point is concerned, people just think that's all about BitGold.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one way of doing it, but at this early startup phase, I think it would be much more practical, much easier if we just had it all on bitshares.org. All the landing pages.
I think having it all in one place is an excellent idea, a very important idea. But when you use the phrase landing page, to me, that's like an entry point from the outside. That's the first thing that somebody hits when they get to the URL, and whether or not that's part of a bigger website, you don't have to know that. I mean, it could all be part of the same bitshares.org web presence, but it's your entry point, which is what it tells me it's a landing page. Maybe I'm wrong.
You can have it's very common in marketing in internet marketing to have multiple landing pages on the same website.